Now, contrary to popular belief, not everyone in corporate is like those LinkedIn influencers who seemingly love their job to no end, write like they wrote an encyclopedia, and also seemingly have no time for their kids, but tell you in a way that it's okay. It's okay you don't have time for your family. Not everyone's like that. There are people in corporate, like you and me, I'm assuming, if you're watching this video, who are in corporate because they probably have to. It probably pays the bills. It's not because of the love of the game, it's the love of the money. And while yes, there's perks to the job, like benefits, and also just like career advances and sense of accomplishment, it's not the be-all end-all for us. Maybe we have a creative outlet or a side hustle that we want to pour more time into, but you know what? Even though the world seemingly is going to be grinding to a halt, those bills sure aren't. So if you consider yourself more human than robot and actually schedule in time to like walk outside and put your feet in the grass, this little guide is for you. The Softie's Guide to Corporate. Now, Softie doesn't mean like, ooh, Softie in this case just means like, you have a heart. You can be, I don't even care, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but if you do not care about climbing the corporate ladder, I'm sorry, you're a softie in this case. Because the hardies are those people that want to climb the ladder and like show off and go, guys, look what I did. Maybe there's another word for that. But come on, let's be honest. If you care about more things outside of work than you do work, to those hardcore people, you're considered a softie, so let's go by their terms, huh? And I do feel qualified to give you this information because not even 24 hours ago, I got an email that has solidified me not working with this company ever again, but on good terms, and in a way that they actually do want me back, just because literally, in their words, the way I handled situations, not my skill set, they did mention that. I want to point that out. They did mention my skills. But more importantly, they liked my personality / my temperament. And that is something that, you know, these harkers on LinkedIn don't really understand. And if they do understand, man, do they give the opposite energy online. It's like, stop it. So I'm going to tell you everything I did to set myself up for success in the corporate world as a self-proclaimed softie. And I hope that you too will be able to survive this crazy world. The first thing you're gonna do before you even send out a resume is read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. And I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, Madison, I don't want to know how to manipulate people. I just want to be myself, be authentic. Hey, both things can exist at the same time. You can be an artist and go to school and learn about, you know, color theory, composition, and all the stuff that really makes art. You could be a theater artist and still go to school for theater and learn about beats, blocking, character breakdown, character study, and all the things and background stuff that makes a theater production that people don't really see. You can be a human and be authentic and still understand how the human brain works. That's all this is. Hopefully that makes you less scared about reading this book. When I first read this book, I was like in this suspension of disbelief, like, this is not how it works. This is a little bit cynical and like, And then I recognized it in myself. And I will say in my day-to-day life, I don't really use it because it's on autopilot as a human being. But oh my word, as soon as I got this corporate job, all those lessons like came to the front of my mind and I was like, oh, my job is essentially this playbook at play. Like, don't outshine the master. Say less than you know. Or like, you know, show a weakness or two so you don't seem invincible. Like, all those things really help you navigate the interpersonal world of corporate. And as soon as you read that book, you're going to be, I dare say, like, better off than 80% of the people who are currently employed in the corporate world. Because at the end of the day, corporate really is all about relationships and how you present yourself and your reputation about, like, how do you work? And if you don't have the book, there's so many videos that go over the 48 Laws of Power. Just, there's no excuse. Before you get a corporate job, you have got to read it. And I won't argue that you have to have it memorized, but I would have a few of them like written down in your journal, or maybe write it down on like stock paper or this little, what are those called? Little cards. Pin it to your wall so when you're on a Zoom meeting, you can like review and be like, what do I need to do in order to, you know, survive? Eep. Anytime there was a frustration at my job, I wouldn't even have to recall it. It would just come back to my brain. I'm like, oh, this is how I should approach it. Because my ego or like, you know, my gut reaction would be like, I need to tell this person off. I need to say, you're stupid. You're dumb. 48 Laws of Power. That's all I'm going to say. Read it. Number 2, this kind of goes off the last one, but I need to just talk about it. Your job is to make other people feel smart. Yes, you're getting paid for like the work that you do when you're not talking to people, But like, if you want to stay hired and if you want to be someone that someone actually wants to give work to, or somebody that is going to be talked to in a meeting and sought out for work, you need to make the people that you work with feel smart, which is great news for people pleasers everywhere. And of course, like human nature, there's going to be times when you don't want to do that. But I tell you what, especially if you work remotely and you're able to do this. I have not worked in a physical office, just a remote office. But if you get something and it causes a really big emotion, it's going to feel really good to like sound off on an email or whatever. If you have to get it out, write it in your notes app. Don't write it in an email. I can't tell you how many people have made that silly mistake of writing email and then they automatically send it because that's just automatic. How many times have I already done that? So many. Write it in your notes app. Always delete it if you have to. Get it off your chest. But the way you're going to respond to literally everything is just nice. You probably already know that, so maybe this one's just for the newbies out there. Job description is all fine and dandy. That's like the tactile stuff. But man, if you're on a team, make your other teammates feel smart and important, you will go far. And obviously, like, don't try to BS it off your wazoo, but just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That's all I'm gonna say. Number 3. I'm trying to tell you guys not to manipulate, but all these points kind of are. But I have to say, pit stop, oop. You have to play the game. They're kind of manipulating you. How many people get into jobs and they realize, oh, this is a lot more work than was on paper. Oh, they want me to work more hours. There's like a constant back and forth of them trying to use you. So if you're not trying to use them, and I really mean this for like those corporate jobs. I don't mean this for mom and pop shops. I don't mean this for like a one-off company where there's just one member and they're hiring you, okay? I'm talking about corporate, where they can pay you better. You know? And at least in my case, I got kind of screwed over, so I don't want anyone to feel that way ever. And I wish I had this video when I started, so little pit stops over. Number 3. Sorry! You have to lie to soften the blows. What do I mean by this? Well, for example, the job I recently had to leave. Long story short, they stressed me out to the point where they sent me to the hospital, and I was like, I can't do this job anymore. Instead of sending email being like, you mofos, you promised this to me, and like, these timelines are ridiculous, and I can't believe everyone. I'm sorry, I lied. I had to lie. I told them I had another opportunity, and I had to leave in 2 weeks. Did I? No. And you can see this as not being courageous. 100%, I was not courageous. But also, I have assessed for a bit the best way to exit. And if I was to tell them straight up the reason why, it would have not gone well. And also, if I was just to be like, hey, I'm kind of like over this, bye. In like a nice way, not like attack the reason why, just saying that I'm quitting for no reason. It would have not gone well. So I'm not saying I just decided just to do it this way because whatever. I've assessed the situation. I saw the best way for me to leave without getting any scratch marks on my back was just to say I got another job. And I contacted one of my friends and I was like, hey, can you say that I work for you now so I can make a LinkedIn post? We did that. And I gotta say, it was the most seamless transition. They respected it and I felt free and there was nothing else to say. And they knew they couldn't reach out for me to work for them because I was at a full-time job. I could have told the complete full truth, but when you're dealing with people that completely live in their own world and only see one reality, you have to kind of play by their rule book and kind of like show the mirror back to them of how they want to be represented. Once again, I know this is manipulative and I don't know how to say this in the most eloquent terms, but in my speech, if someone is mean to you and you don't like it, I'm going to try to avoid every single instance to not be bullied again. And so that was this for me. Is it morally right? I don't think so. But also, you know what? You gotta play by their rule book. Oh, sorry. This is like ink on my hands too because one of my pens exploded. I tried to wipe it off, but here I am. Is this Treasure Island? I made a really nice email and I was like, sorry, this is a better opportunity. I had a great time, but I gotta go. Record scratch, freeze frame. I know what you're thinking. Madison, what about the person after you? Madison, they're gonna keep repeating that cycle. Maybe I'm cynical, but I have been around the block a few times in life, and I understand that if someone is a certain age, it's gonna be very hard to make them change. And I gotta be quite honest, I did not have the energy, nor the time, nor the care to really lay it out on them and really just like, you know, give it to them in hopes that they would change. It was very obvious in this situation. Every situation is different, so please assess it on your own terms. But in this situation, it was very obvious there is no change in sight. This is the way things are. This is the way things always been. I am just another character in the story. I mean, that's sad. Because listen, if this was like a good boss, I would still be with them. But if they're not, it's kind of like, let's go. Anyways, so for us corporate softies in these situations, it's going to feel really good, or maybe you really want to just tell it like it is. Maybe you should sometimes. But I gotta say, if you want the less emotional stress, if you just want to cut clean and just move on with your life without this residue, you sometimes have to lie. And it's not a good feeling. I'm not proud of it, obviously. But I gotta tell you what, the emotional freedom I felt from knowing I wasn't gonna get a paragraph text or a very long email or, whatever. Freeing. Number 4, people's outbursts are more about their ego than about you. Now listen, you may have set it off, but there was something brewing in there long beforehand, I gotta say. Do listen to what they're saying and be like, okay, I'll fix that. But taking it personally, we're not doing that. That is more on them. And they're clearly dealing with a problem. It's gonna feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to people doing outbursts. And I gotta say, if someone's over the age of 30 having an outburst at work, yeah, you should probably start looking for another job, because I don't think that's gonna get any better. Next, oversharing is putting a target on your back. So shut up. You probably hear this a lot nowadays, but like, you should not overshare at work. Even if you feel comfortable with your coworkers, you never know what they're gonna use to get the one up on you. Now, I will say, like, hey, karma, be sure not to do it to them. Don't be out here telling other people stuff, whatever, that might get them in a little trouble. It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it when you tell them things about your personal life, because you might not think it will come back to get you. Whoa. People are creative, problems will come up, and then they'll be like, well, you said XYZ, is that why you're underperforming? Or you said XYZ, is that why you speak the way you do? It could be a myriad of reasons. And this is really hard for us softies, because we probably have pretty solid relationships with people in our lives that we don't have to really think about, like, oh, I shouldn't say this because it's going to be used against me. We share because we're excited about our life, and we have people in our life who are excited to like see us grow, or to hear from us, or to, share in accomplishments, or relate to each other over experiences like concerts, or, family ailment, or just like getting a bonus, popping off on social media, or being able to run a marathon. On your day-to-day life, you should not have to worry about oversharing at all, because it's not oversharing, it's just sharing your life. But those little things, little details in the corporate arena, you're just basically being like, hey guys, here's information that you could tell the boss to use against me. Or if you tell your boss, why would you do that? It's basically being like, this is a reason why you could demote me, or not give me work, or just have this weird silent thing against me because, I share the same hobbies as your high school bully did. It's the weirdest stuff. So just like, to not exhaust the point, personal life, corporate life has to be severed. Ooh, yeah, just like that. And it's gonna feel like you're stifling yourself, because you kind of are. But I assure you, every single time that I shared a snippet, like, oh, I can't do this, I'm playing pickleball with my family right now, was used against me. Like, what? And when my boss asked me, oh, why do you dress up for Zooms? I was like, well, because, the better I look, the more I'm worth. That was used against me. It's like, what? Ah! And this goes into our number 3 point. Like, sometimes you have to lie. Like, if they ask about your weekend, if it was awful, say it was great. It was great. Don't bring it into the workplace. If people weren't able to access you because you're doing karaoke, just say that I don't know, make up something that they can't use against you. Number 6, it will benefit you greatly if you have a reputation of always looking good. Well, if you're a red pillar, first of all, why are you watching this video? How did I get on your algorithm? You are not my intended audience. Because what I know these red pillars are going to say is like, well, looking good is about what you're born with. All that makeup stuff, we can tell, we can see through it. Gays. Now, when I say you have to look good, I don't mean like change your face, get Botox, go under the knife or whatever. I don't care if you were voted the most ugliest person in your class. Okay, I'm being so sincere. If that person shows up with a little makeup, a little hair, and a little, a nice little top at least, because you're not, in Zoom, you're not really seeing the pants, I hope. They're going to be treated so much better than like anyone else on that call who is wearing pajamas. And if you're a guy, be like clean shaven, have a nice little button up, brush your hair if you have any, but make sure your face is just like clean, and that's all you have to do. It's not a beauty pageant. It's not like I'm the best one here. But if you have the reputation of always showing up on camera, looking good, and looking like you take care of yourself, people respond to that. I'm sorry, I do believe people's insides matter more than the outsides, but corporate is shallow. At the end of the day, there is a bit of shallowness in all of us, and we respond to visual things. So if you're in a meeting, especially with new people and they never met you before, they only have that first impression, and you're in your pajamas, I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't hurt to appear good on camera, but it does hurt when you look like you just rolled out of bed. Here's your reminder just to do that. Real life example, I always showed up kind of dressed up on Zoom calls because number one, I live in the suburbs and I have no occasion to dress up. And as someone who has a BFA musical theater, I love to dress up. So I saw this as my excuse to like, just feel my oats for a lack of a better term. And not only would I get compliments, which are nice, but like people treated me differently compared to when I wasn't. So after I realized that I got treated better if I just looked good, I haven't looked back since. And I want all of us to win, so I'm sharing that. Zoom calls do matter. Appearance matters. But for you factual people who need something to grab onto, being more presentable makes you less of a target. People will talk to you much more sincerely and nicer if there's like a problem that you're attached to. And also this gives you the halo effect, which essentially like we see pretty things as good and ugly things as bad. So if you just like tanked the company's stock, but you look really good, they're probably going to be a little bit more easy on you on that call. Number 7, compliment those below you. Maybe you're already doing this because, I don't know, you're a human and you have a heart and you understand like just because someone is below you doesn't make them less than. But those people who are right now below you will eventually be above you in some terms because they probably like the corporate ladder more than you do. So yeah, of course there's like job benefits to just being nice to everyone no matter their ranking. But at least for me, it was just like an exercise of like this job, even though it's so stressful, I want you to know I appreciate your work and I'm glad that we're in this together because I know that we're getting treated the same way. And me telling you, good job, love this work, it just feels so cathartic because no one else is saying it. At least in my context. No one else was really, giving the time to be like, hey, this is really good work. And so to be that sunflower in like a poppy field just felt like a little rebellious moment. And obviously you can give compliments to people above you, but that kind of seems like you're sucking up sometimes. I mean, like context, do it whatever context you find yourself in, act accordingly, of course. But at least in my context, it seemed like I was, trying to kiss up their butts. So I just made sure to, give the most recognition or just recognition period to people who were below me or adjacent to me. I don't even care because relationships matter and it just makes the job more fun because I don't want to be like, thanks. It's like, oh my gosh, thanks. And like, obviously don't be so syrupy about it, like too sweet. Give them a nice little compliment and be on your way and see how that changes your guys' relationship. By now, you probably noticed that most of these are defensive points. And I gotta say, even though I said like, this is how to win as a soft person, you don't really win by trying to be the best. You win by being the nice one. You win by being the person with a heart because so many people don't have one. And although there's a lot of overlapping advice on how to go about corporate online, there is just going to be conflicting advice. But you know what? This is my trombone and by gosh, I'm going to blow it because I know it works. This is what has worked for me. If I played my cards a little differently, I think that, a lot of bridges would be burned, but I still have this bridge, even though they sent me to the hospital. I realized that it really is just another game. And you have to know about how humans work, and you have to know how to deflect yourself from attention, and you have to know, like, just how to make people feel important. And listen, it's never a case of, oh, these people are not important, so I'm going to make them feel important. No, they're important. It's just like a good reminder to do that if you're not already doing it. For us people who really like to just vibe and chill out and live authentically and, tell it like it is, you will get eaten and spit out alive if you do that in corporate. And I am so glad that I read the writing on the wall before I acted like I wanted to. That's all I'm going to say. Corporate is weird. But these are the things that help me survive. And I want to leave you with, it's weird to say, it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad. You just have to know how to play the game and know how to save yourself because no one else will. It seems like that's a bad thing to say, but if you listen to anyone else's corporate journey, people say the same thing. Find people that you actually want to work with. For example, out of this company, I have found people that I actually like to work with because they're more authentic. Like, we talk the same way and we understand that work isn't everything, but we need to make money, so we do it. And now we're about to start a beautiful working relationship. Like, how nice is that? So listen, you just gotta find your people in whatever sucky job that you're at and make some magic out of that. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I really do hope this helped. This is a video I wish I had at the beginning of my journey, because I would probably, I don't know, come out more on top if I really had all my eggs in the basket at one time. And let me know what has worked for you as a softie in corporate. And you know what? If you don't agree with any of my points, that's fine. This is a free country as of September 2025, so I'll allow you to speak. And I really do hope this is my last corporate video I ever make, because there's so many other things to talk about. But if you guys have any more questions, I'll be willing to talk to you about it. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next one.